In the course of one's life, all readers are bound to find a number of different books. Some that they love, some that they didn't quite love, and every once in a while, a book that they never finished. In my case, there's many of those. While everyone can have different opinions on books, I'm a firm believer that you can't properly rate a book until you've read it cover to cover. So in order to not be a hypocrite, I decided for the next 7 days, I'm going to be finishing the 4 books that I DNF'd. Those books include Caraval, The Inheritance Games, Twisted Love, and These Violent Delights. It's day 1 and it's a rainy day, which means it's a great day for reading, but not a great day for lighting. The first book I'm finishing is Caraval. I DNF'd this book around a year ago, and there wasn't anything super wrong with this book. I just was kind of bored, to be honest. Some of the characters I also disliked, but after reading your comments, apparently it was all a misunderstanding. So I guess let's start reading. First of all, before anyone says anything, yes, it is the same day. My outfit is different because it was getting a little hot, so I'm not wearing this referee-looking shirt because it's more comfortable. I've been reading for a few hours, and so far, I don't think my opinion is going to be changing much. There were a few parts that made me cringe a little. I also may or may not have fallen asleep. And overall, I think I'm still having a bit of trouble imagining the world they're in. I don't know if it's just because I'm not understanding or if there's actually not enough description in the book, but I'm really confused on what the world looks like. But I haven't read that much yet, so I guess we're gonna keep going at it and see how it goes. It's day 2, and I'm happy to announce that after many hours of reading yesterday and this morning, I finished Caraval. And now for my updated review. My original rating was around 3 stars. This was when I was around 120 pages in. And now, after finishing the book, my final rating, drumroll please, 1.5 stars.
No! No!
Yeah, probably gonna get some hate for this, but I didn't like the book. For me, it got worse and worse, and I have so many things that I could say about this book, but in order to keep this video a reasonable length, I've narrowed it down into 3 main issues. First, the pacing. Second, the world building. And third, the characters/relationships. So starting off with pacing, I don't know if this will make sense to anyone, but when I was reading it, it felt like so much was happening, but then also nothing happened at the same time. Like somehow simultaneously, it felt so slow, but so fast. It felt like there were stretches of time when there was just nothing happening, and then all of a sudden something would happen, and then there would be nothing happening for a while again. It wasn't working for me. As for the world building, I discussed this earlier, but in my opinion, there just wasn't enough of it. It felt like there wasn't enough development in Caraval overall. Like the whole idea of what Caraval was, I feel like it wasn't developed that well. Also, another issue I had was it felt a lot more like tell rather than show. It wasn't really described vividly. It was just like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and it didn't work out. At one point near the end of the book, around chapter 37 or 38, I was finally like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with this book now. But then that quickly plummeted with the last few chapters. In order to not spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it, I won't say more, but it just felt like everything that happened was just undone all of a sudden, and it was like, what was the point of reading this whole book? And finally, the characters. In order for me to actually enjoy a book, I feel like I need to have some sort of attachment to the characters, but it just wasn't there for me. Also, I absolutely hate it when multiple siblings have the same love interest. I know that in the end we found out Tella actually was never involved with Julian, but the fact that Scarlett the whole time thought that they were together and then still fell for him, I was uncomfortable. And also, I felt like their relationship progressed so strangely. Like she was so deeply in love with him to the point that she was considering saving him over her own sister when she'd known him for like, what, 3 days? I mean, I get it. Obviously, it's going to be a hard decision choosing between your siblings and your lover. But girl, you met him 3 days ago. It should not be hard at all. Yeah, I'm really sorry. A lot of people requested me to read this because you thought my review would change after I finished it. And it did. Just maybe not in the way we thought. I wanted so desperately to like this book, and I honestly thought I was going to, but it really wasn't for me. This book made me a little more confident in my ability to DNF books that I think I won't like. However, we'll see how that changes with the next book, The Inheritance Games. I I DNF'd Inheritance Games a few years ago. I actually DNF'd this much farther into the book than I did Caraval. I was well over halfway done with it. And my main issue was I just wasn't really drawn in. The characters and the mystery didn't really interest me much. For me, the writing felt a little juvenile, but I guess we'll finish it and see how it goes. It's day 3, it's currently 10 in the morning. I have a few hours before I have to go out, so I'm gonna try to finish the Inheritance Games now. It's day 4 at 4 p.m. I ended up finishing Inheritance Games much later than I expected, so that doesn't put me on great track to finish the rest of the books on time, but I'll try my best, and I believe I can do it. So I DNF'd it on page like 200. I would say my rating was around 2 stars, probably closer to 1.5, but for everyone who wants a rounded number, 2 stars. And this time, my new rating is 4 stars. Trust me, I'm just as surprised as you are. I don't know what happened, but this time around, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if it's because I was in the middle of all the action where I picked it up, but I was really invested. One of the reasons I was really bored before was because I was like, they're not getting to the mystery. But then the whole second half of the book, it was basically mystery focused, which I really liked. Obviously, I didn't give it full stars, so I'm gonna explain sort of what I liked and what I didn't like. To start, what I really liked, as I just said, was the mystery. I think the first half was a bit slow and a bit boring for me, and also a bit focused on the people, and I didn't really love any of the characters enough to want to read the book for them. So then in the second half, when it felt more focused on the actual mystery, I was really invested. I loved the plot twist at the end, and I actually feel like the mystery felt really well developed, everything tied together, and I was like, whoa. So that was basically the main thing I liked about the book. It was a big thing, which is why I was able to boost my rating up so high. There's a few things I didn't like. They were all small, so it didn't bring the rating down too low, but I still did not love the love triangle. I didn't particularly like Jameson or Grayson, although I will say, I'm Team Grayson right now. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't like Jameson. I also didn't love how short the chapters were. Someone pointed this out and I couldn't get it out of my head, but every single chapter was really short. I feel like it sort of cut the flow of the writing a little bit. It made it feel a little choppy, but I was able to overlook it because I actually became so invested in the story. So I think those were the main things I didn't enjoy. I also didn't love the characters, didn't love Jameson. Avery was just kind of okay to me. Did not like Emily. Yeah, I did not like her at all. She PMO. But you know who I did love? I loved Oren, bodyguard, dope dude, loved him. I loved Xander. Xander is my boy. I love him. Yeah, overall, I ended up liking the book. I was truly surprised. The reason I didn't pick to read this one first is because I had very low expectations. I remember distinctly liking this book the least out of like all the books I read in high school. But I don't know what happened. This time around I liked it, and I actually do think I'll be continuing with the series, which I'm very shocked. I truly apologize to all the people who found solace in the fact that I didn't enjoy the book. If you didn't like it, I still definitely understand all the reasons. There are still issues I had with the book, but overall I feel like I enjoyed it more than I didn't. And with that, we'll move on to the next book. Okay, and just as a disclaimer for anyone who is paying attention, I said at the beginning that I DNF'd Twisted Love, but I actually did finish it, and then I didn't enjoy it, so I DNF'd the series as a whole, and then all of you were saying that the future books are better, so then I was like, you know what, okay, I'll pick it up again with Twisted Games, and we'll see how it goes. What day is it? Wait a minute. It's day 5 and I've been reading for a while. I woke up at like 7 in the morning and started reading. Yeah, crazy time to read Twisted Games, I know. And then I went to the gym and I was listening to the audiobook in the car and at the gym. It was an experience. I'll say that. Okay, Rise is a green flag and I love him. What? This is better switch up real quick. It was really hard to keep a straight face while I was in the gym because I was cringing internally. I just kept feeling like people could hear what I was listening to and I was like, oh gosh, oh, okay. I don't think smut is exactly the type of book that I like to read normally, but so far I like the characters more than I liked Alex and Ava, so that's good. Yeah, today is going to be a bit busy because I'm hanging out with some people, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to finish the book today. If I do, it'll have to be like at 1 a.m. If I don't finish, I guess I'll continue tomorrow, and then I'll only have one more day for these Violent Delights. But I think if I really cram for the next few hours to read this book, I can get close to finishing it, and then basically all of tomorrow and the day after will be for these Violent Delights. So I believe in myself.
And what gave you the confidence?
Delusion.
Also, I just wanted to say, I finally started listening to audiobooks because of all your comments. I tried before, but I didn't love the narration, and my thoughts so far, it's really useful because if you're at the gym, then you can just listen to your book, and it goes by so quickly, especially when you have it at like 1.75 speed or something. So it's great. The only issue I have is I hate it when they have accents. Or no, sorry, that sounded wrong. No. I don't like it when they force an accent. Also, the dude's voice in Twisted Games is so low. I'm like, it was kind of giving me a headache. I could barely decipher what he was saying, I'm not gonna lie. Other than that, audiobooks are cool. So, yeah. It's currently day 7 at 7 p.m. PM, not AM. Yeah, I'm a little off track. Honestly though, I think my expectations for myself were a little too high because 4 books in 1 week is a bit insane. My eyes are kind of burning. I've just been reading for hours and hours straight. But anyways, my review. So I read Twisted Love and it was just okay for me. My rating for Twisted Love was like 2.5. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads. And my rating for Twisted Games is 3.5. It's not the best rating, but it's actually pretty good by my standards. I wanted to take the time to share what my rating system is because I saw some people in my comments talking about how theirs is slightly different. So just for some clarity, for me, 5 stars is my absolute favorite perfect book of all time. I think I've only given like 2 book series 5 stars in my entire life, 2 or maybe 3. 4 stars is my default sort of rating. It's the rating that I give to books that I enjoyed, whether it's like I really enjoyed it or I somewhat enjoyed it. Anything that's 4 stars, I enjoyed. 3 stars is sort of in the middle for me, but it's leaning towards I enjoyed it. It's sort of just like what I would give any random book. It's sort of just a typical book, probably something I'll forget about, but it was a good time in general. 2 stars is I didn't like the book. I didn't hate it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it to people. Not a fun experience, didn't enjoy it. And 1 star is I hated the book. Absolutely hated. Did not like it at all. Not enjoyable. And then everything in between is sort of intuitive. So for anyone wondering, that's my rating system. Yeah, overall, it was pretty good. I did love Rise so much. He was such a green flag, which I loved. I also loved Bridget because I love when there's like strong, powerful, independent women. So I loved that. I also really loved their dynamic. First of all, I loved how it was like slow burn because the progression of their relationship felt really natural and I really loved it. I also loved that there wasn't much miscommunication. Like obviously there was a lack of communication at times, but I didn't feel frustrated by it. Later on, when they actually got together in their relationship, for the most part, they were very open and honest about their feelings. There were obviously parts of the book where, you know, issues happened, but I feel like overall their relationship felt very smooth, which I really enjoyed. I didn't love how halfway through the book it was like almost entirely smut, but obviously I should have expected it. This is a smut book. It wouldn't make sense if there was no smut, right? But I wish we had a few more scenes where it was just like their feelings in like a cutesy little moment. But if you like slow burn and you like smut, this would be the perfect book for you. So yes, I loved the characters and overall I love the plot of this book. I feel like the plot of this book was much more interesting than the plot of Twisted Love was. In general, I think it's hard for me to rate a romance book really high. In order for it to be 5 stars or above, it has to be truly beautifully written or like alter my brain chemistry in some way, which while I did enjoy Twisted Games, I don't think it particularly did that, which is why I gave it 3.5, which I would say is actually a pretty high rating for me. Also, this is some random thing I wanted to point out. I know a lot of people visualize the characters as like specific actors or people or whatever, and for the most part, I don't usually do that, but in this book, there was one specific random character that I imagined very vividly, and it was Hall. He's such a random character to imagine, but I imagine him as that guy from Frozen. I don't remember what his name is, the kind of evil, that little scrawny dude. I'll insert a picture here. Anyways, I very vividly, the entire book, imagined Hall as him, and he's the only character who I imagined as someone. So I had to point that out and see if anyone else was on the same page as me. So now I'm gonna stop yapping because I only have a few more hours to complete this challenge in time, and we still have 1 full book to go. So I'm almost 100% sure I'm not gonna finish it in time. But yeah, I guess without further ado, I'm gonna go get reading.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
It's day 8 and I just finished reading These Violent Delights, which means I unfortunately failed the challenge, but I'm honestly still really proud of myself because I read 4 books in 8 days, which for me as a really slow reader is a lot. And I feel like in general, for any normal person, 4 books in 8 days is like a lot to read. And I definitely messed up my sleep schedule a lot while trying to finish these books. So I think you guys should hit the subscribe button for all the effort I put in. But anyways, yeah, so I finished the book and I'm back to give my review. I originally DNF'd this book pretty early on, only around 50 pages in. The main reasons just being I didn't love the writing style and I had a feeling the plot wasn't going to be very deep. I don't think I was far enough in to give it a proper rating, but if I had to rate it, it would probably be 2.5 stars. And after finishing the book, my new rating is 2 stars. Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't love the book and I have quite a few reasons. I'm going to start with the more shallow reasons and then go into the more deep reasons at the end. To start, I didn't like Juliet. In general, I love when female main characters are like strong and independent, but for me, it felt like Juliet was sort of unnecessarily cruel and violent at the beginning. I do think she got a bit better near the end, but it wasn't enough for me to like really like the book. My second reason was the romance didn't really make sense to me. The buildup of their relationship all occurred before the events of the book. So the book started off with them being enemies and then they were rekindling their relationship throughout the book. I think that kind of trope can work, but in this case it didn't for me because in my opinion, we didn't feel enough connection between them. The buildup of them falling in love just wasn't there. It felt like they were enemies the whole time and then all of a sudden they started loving each other again. So that didn't work for me. My next issue, this was something really small and sort of trivial, but I hated how they kept inserting random phrases from other languages in the book. To me, it felt like these lines were really unnecessary and I have no idea the purpose of adding them, but it didn't add any depth to the plot in my opinion, especially with like little to no explanation with what they meant. Yeah, I didn't love it and I just couldn't understand why they were there in the first place. My next reason was the book felt very slow. It could also be because I was sort of in a rush to try to finish this on time, but I was just getting really frustrated in the middle. I was like, when is anything going to happen? This is a pretty lengthy book and most of it felt unnecessary to me. And then my final reason was the plot definitely felt, as I had originally expected, quite shallow. It felt like a YA book that was trying to seem more adult-like by mentioning deeper topics like communism, racism, and sexism, but these topics were only briefly touched on. So then to me, it sort of felt like they were just throwaway and trivial rather than actually being impactful. I feel like the author should have chosen whether she wanted to focus more on the plot and the world building or if she wanted to go more in depth on these deeper topics, but the way she tried to balance both of them for me did not work out. So yeah, those were all my reasons. I didn't like the book. I can't say many things I did like about the book if I'm being totally honest. I'm giving it 2 stars because I don't think I hated it. I didn't enjoy it. So that was all for this review. And with that, the challenge is over. Now that the challenge is over, I just wanted to share some brief conclusions. Clearly, every single one of my ratings changed. Whether it went up or down, there was some sort of shift in all of my ratings. So I think I learned through this challenge that you definitely can't judge a book until you've entirely finished it because it's totally possible that just the last part of the book will completely change your opinion on it. Just like how books are up to interpretation, I think you can take whatever lesson you sort of want from this video, whether it's that you should finish your books because your opinion can definitely change at the end, or if it's that it's honestly not worth it to finish books that you think you won't enjoy. Regardless, this was just a really fun challenge for me, and I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I enjoyed doing it. And make sure to subscribe because I have many more challenges planned, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!